I wanted to add a little bit to this video about orthopraxy. And a lot of people have been saying that in order to call yourself a Hellenist in any form, you have to follow the orthopraxy of Hellenismos. I couldn't disagree more, and I'll tell you why. There's a lot of religions out there that are orthopraxic in nature. Wicca, for example. Wicca defines itself by its practices. Wicca means witch, so one cannot be a Wiccan without being a witch. If one ceases to be a witch, but they have Wiccan beliefs, what are they? They're a neo-pagan. The same thing goes for Hellenismos and Hellenism in general. I'm not a practitioner of Hellenismos, and I probably never will be. However, I am still a Hellenic polytheist, and so I must call myself then a Neo-Hellenist, because I don't follow all the old ancient traditions, but I'm still Hellenic polytheist, hence Neo-Hellenism. So, how is it that somebody can say, well, if you don't follow the same way I do, then you don't have the right to call yourself a Hellenist at all? Well, it really doesn't make any sense, really, if you think about it, because the whole idea of what Hellenism is about is the gods, right? And, yeah, Hellenismos might have specific beliefs in it, and that's fine. You guys can have your own beliefs and your own practices and everything like that. I don't want to be part of your little group, but I am a Hellenist, and I'm not going to let you or anybody else take that away from me. I'll give you another example. The Catholics have a lot of orthopraxy in their religion. They have baptism and certain sacraments and stuff like that you must practice in order to consider yourself to be a Catholic. However, if you still believe in Jesus, but you're not a Catholic, you don't follow Catholic practices, what are you? You're a Christian. And the whole idea of Christianity is one that follows Jesus, not necessarily any certain orthopraxic beliefs. So you're still part of the larger religious spectrum. You're just not part of that smaller religious sect within the larger religious spectrum. So there's this guy named Thomas O'Day, and he's a famous sociologist, and he wrote a list of 5 dilemmas of institutionalization. What he was talking about was religion, and how when a religion tries to establish itself, like people who in Hellenism are trying to establish themselves, and it goes through different dilemmas that cause it to change. And really what it is it'll cause it to change or die. And that's pretty evident as you go through them. And I'm going to post a link so that you guys can see all 5 dilemmas and make a decision for yourself about what O'Day was talking about. But I'm going to talk about 2 of them. The first one I'm going to talk about is the second dilemma. The second dilemma is, it's called the symbolic dilemma. And basically the way that O'Day describes it is objectification versus alienation. O'Day thought that basically a religious symbol in itself didn't do much if it didn't make sense to the practitioners. You know what I mean? The idea of a religious symbol is that something connects with the followers of that religion. So, for example, a symbol can be a ritual. A symbol can be the way that somebody worships or prays or something like that. Now, if somebody suggests that you have to do the symbolism of the religion in a certain way, and that certain way of doing the symbolism of that religion defines the religion, we take the risk of alienating people who belong to the religion who don't share a connection with that symbol. And the idea is, what's more important? The symbol itself, which may not have meaning to the practitioners, or the practitioner's connection with the divine? That's really, it sums it up. And I want you guys to think about that. What's more important? Now, O'Day had another one of his dilemmas called the dilemma of delimitation. And basically what that discusses is whether or not a religion needs to stick to a strict definition of itself, or whether or not it can go more to the spirit than the letter of the law. Now, there's even the Hellenismos practitioners who are criticizing Neo-Hellenism claim that Hellenismos is not a rigid religion, nor is it dogmatic. They claim this in the writings that they have, and even the books that are out by American Hellenismos practitioners. However, we can see that a lot of the Hellenistic practitioners, not all of them, because I'm friends with a lot of them, have this rigid definition of Hellenism. A definition that's not supported by scholarly claims, not even supported by the dictionary. You know, if you go to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, it talks about Hellenism being things that are derived from Greece, and, you know, art, spirituality, and philosophy being derived from Greece. Well, if you look at NeoHellenism, the central idea of NeoHellenism is still a polytheistic religion. You know, it's still belief in the Greek gods. In fact, my brand of NeoHellenism is still a hard polytheistic brand of Neo-Hellenism, where we believe in the Greek gods as our main gods and sole gods, and that we understand and interpret other cultural ideas that we have by the understanding of the Greek culture and Greek philosophies and ideas. So it is centrally Greek and therefore centrally Hellenist. But yet they claim that Hellenism refers only to the ancient religion, and that they're the only ones that practice the ancient religion, and therefore they're the only ones that can call themselves Hellenists. However, that's just not completely true, is it? Because if we look at the ancient religion and how they practice, and how modern Hellenismos practitioners practice, we'll see that there's a lot of differences between the two. Now, of course, there has to be modernization if we look at the old religion to now. And that's why Neo-Hellenism is just a continuation of that modernization. But we still have the essence and spirit of Hellenism behind our religion. And that's the difference between our belief and theirs, is that they go by this lettered definition that they've created as to what Hellenism is. And we go by more of the spirit of the definition, or the definition that's in the dictionary, actually, and not their definition. And because they've created this definition of what they believe Hellenism is, they then set themselves up as an authority to determine whether or not other people can call themselves Hellenists and use the term Hellenism. And quite frankly, they have no authority over my path or anybody else's path. In fact, a lot of the people who are doing this don't even have any scholarly history or background to them, or even any, kind of adequate ordination. They're just kind of saying it out of emotion, like I said, instead of out of fact. And I don't mean to bash all Hellenismos practitioners. Like I said, I'm friends with a lot of them, and a lot of them accept Neo-Hellenism and understand that Neo-Hellenism is a valid path. However, I'm speaking of specific Hellenismos practitioners that basically have one specific philosophy. And it's unfortunate, like I said, because I'd like to see more unity within the Hellenism community. I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon when we have these people who just stand back and thumb their noses at people and say, well, you're not a true Hellenist. And it's a dangerous game to play when you get into what is a true this and a true that. At some point, it has to be done, but when one person with no authority over a specific religion tries to do it, it just becomes bigotry.